Enjoying retirement. She's busy though. What's that? Right, too busy. Right, exactly, right. Yeah, she's busy, just figure out a way to get it done. Mom's retired, he's enjoying retirement.
7 years ago. Yeah, 2018. Cars.
Sorry, I want.
That's fair.
But I could find it, but.
Travel and take care of my parents. Well, everybody I talk to have an outside interest. And I feel your time. So we'll find out that so my wife is 21. And she works there's a place called Highland Place on Main Street. It's a tchotchke shop. Okay. She works over there.
Ready to do it when you do it, not just do it and yelling. Now what do I do? I should have just guessed.
She shows her needs for the
That makes no sense.
No, that makes no sense. Yeah, it's just,
Just keep going your. Why would you do the same thing?
She loves to sing.
Maybe, yeah. Okay.
Oh. More involved.
All right, let's call this meeting to order at 8:01. So in front of you, you got the packet of minutes from November 13th. If you had a chance to take a look at that, I'll put a motion first. Motion by Bob, second by Darlene. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. And treasurer's report, Kristen.
all right, for the month ending November 30th, take a look at the balance sheet. We had about $1.9 million in cash. Under liabilities, you'll still see that, we're keeping that stop payment or that GM litigation on for now, just to see what happens. And then we have that 5-year option purchase from Sevo Wind Powers that needs to stay on there until they decide to either use it or not. And then our bonds payable for, total liabilities, which are net assets of $3 million. So going to the income statement. This month, the only income we had was interest income for $4,200. Our total expense in November was $6,600 for a net monthly loss of $2,300, but a year-to-date gain of $40,000. And our statement of cash transactions, pretty much what you see on the income statement, our interest less our expenses for that $1.9 million in cash. Any questions on the statements?
Okay, if there's no questions, I'll take a motion to accept the financial statements as presented by Kristen.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Janine. Second by Darlene. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Invoices and bills.
Okay, I present the December bills. The largest is to the town of Lockwood of $12,263.62. That is larger than usual because we have our annual principal and interest payment in there, along with the monthly contract and reimbursements to the town. So I am presenting for approval the total December payments of $12,358.46.
All right, motion by Kristen to approve the bills as presented. Second by Bob. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, Administrative Director's report, Tom.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I think the first thing you'll notice is we are not over in the new building like we had planned. mentioned, we probably missed it by 3 or 4 days. We're expecting furniture delivery Monday, and then depending on the availability of the highway guys and ourselves, Tuesday and Wednesday, get the rest of ourselves over there, so that at least functioning, and I've got some work with Synchronet to do as well. But I think suffice it to say by that, certainly by the end of next week, they'll be there up functioning and kind of back in full use. Absolutely plan for your next board meeting to be over there and in the boardroom, other than having Synchronet relocate some of the live stream stuff. Really, the table comes Monday, the chairs are already there, so you'll be good as far as that goes. Might be a little bit of work going on still in the community room, but it won't bother any of you. So, Paris Prep, the job reporting forms went out this week to all the entities that are due back January 17th. We'll keep an eye out for those as they come in. Most of the schedules that can be done are done. We'll show you, for example, the annual report in a second. Part of the problem really is like even silly things like the investment report. Well, they've got to wait till 12/31 to see what 12/31 interest was, and note that and so on. So there definitely will be some schedules left over to complete, but that's the case. So no big deal. The Lumsden audit, quote unquote, it's kind of rung the bell. That obviously begins with an engagement letter that came. I didn't think it made sense for me to sign it, so I had it modified and Todd signed that. So we've not yet had any requests for documents, but just so you know that audit engagement letter is signed and over to Lumsden. I will share with her that March date for you all so that she stays on track and you all have that presentation in March, because that's very much the last thing that holds up Paris. So we'll make sure she's aware of her scheduled March date. Yesterday I sat through the latest Empire State Development Program. If you've got kind of things that don't apply to us, like the Main Street programs and the New York Forward programs and so on, and obviously we've taken advantage of FAST, but the newest one is Power Up, which is designed to help underwrite bringing more substantial electricity to parks. I've got Maureen typing up my notes. I'll share them with you all. I think it will be a challenge for us to qualify. They expect it to be a park with 45 acres or more. Now, our IDA Park South, at one point, I think thought if we used every square inch and didn't have DEC issues, we're close to that, like 41 or 43. But you'll recall that if, to appease the DEC on the northern barrier, we're down to 33. They didn't say we couldn't, if there were some unique circumstances that it's possible that you could qualify. I think what would happen, and I'll certainly work with Pat on this, is that, when we're finally done with our FAST grant, there is a FAST grant / category C that allows you to go get funds for actual infrastructure work. The way they're planning to do that, which is plus minus, is if we needed money for water lines and sewer lines, just to make my point, that would come under this FAST category 3. But if, and we would certainly want to, add significant power to it, that would have to come up through a Power Up application. So, but I'll give you the notes. I don't know that there was anything super noteworthy. Uses the CFA to apply and a few other things, but I would say it was nothing to good of the order. But it was interesting to see ESD take a victory lap around, clap themselves on all the different projects like Micron, Edwards, Wolfspeed, and Global Foundries, and how they've met the electricity needs of those. But we all know that's easier said than done. So But no, I think Pat and I have begun our work. We've had 1 2-hour session. We've got another one coming up. Obviously, we will not be able to get it all done in December, in part because I'm using my vacation at the end, heading to a family wedding in Florida, but certainly can work on that in January, February, and March, Paris, and anything else that's necessary. So we'll try not to we're going to stick to 2-hour sessions, because otherwise it probably get too overwhelming.
Speaking of power, sorry, I can't remember what it was, but there's a state, Kansas or Oklahoma comes to mind, that passed a law that when there is too high of a load on the grid.
I sent that to all of you.
Did it come from you?
Yeah. Texas is the first one. I think there's some others that are doing it. And it may not be the dumbest idea, where they've got all these challenges with data centers, and then when all of a sudden they get to the point of weather or whatever, and everybody calls it around, they'll just shut all those data centers down. And most of them, like including Yahoo, they've got those 5 or 6 giant diesel generators they operate on for a good period of time. So yeah, it might be smart. The other stuff I'll deal with in executive
Tom, attorney's report, Tom.
Thank you, Chairman. The federal pilot is not on yet. They need to have it completed by March for tax benefits. I'll keep a track of it. They're very close. Final. I think that's all I have for.
How we do new business, then we'll do old business.
Okay. Yeah, you have in your packet, you all know that kind of in October we try and do towards I'll present those results in a second. December we complete the performance evaluation. My position, sure, I welcome the feedback, even though I may be heading out. But more importantly, this is also a question. It does not get uploaded, but it is a question. The board completes the performance evaluation. So a little long for you to slam dunk them today. If you do, leave it with me. But if not, you can email it to Maureen or drop it by the new office. Appreciate the feedback on those.
I have another item. We have with us our guest official 4. As I think all of you know, personally, professionals involved in the township, involved in the county, and then many other distinguished positions throughout the town, the county, and personal and professional life as well. For many years, she seems to be a gigantic asset now on board, serving as the supervisor and the head of all of the special projects that I'm looking here, including the noises you can hear in the background, the construction of the town hall here. I think everyone is aware Ms. Ford has submitted her interest in application. This application is including a resume both to the town to be considered for the economic development director position, as well as to the IDA here to consider to take over Mr. Sines' administrative director position, effective January 1, 2026. We've had some conversations on the town level. They can take a vote on that and move that forward. I haven't officially yet anticipated an action will be on the agenda for December 17th. In the meantime, we have done some background recon or conversations with Niagara County Civil Service, making sure that everything's in order there, which is she's been approved to take over both those jobs from Niagara County Civil Service division. I can introduce Pat before all of you, maybe Pat can give a little bit of a background, just briefly about your history and resume. Just tell us how good you are.
Thank you, Tom. for your-
Sorry, good job. Stop. I know you're very capable.
First test.
Again, primarily my career was as an administrator, construction administrator for Farm Harvest for 35 years there. Left, started my own business. I have a broker's license. My husband and son are both in our business, which is Cornerstone Services Group. We did 10, 15 years of residential and light commercial development. Subsequent to that, and during that whole period, I was working on different phases of my tenure here at the town, starting with, I think, building assessment review board, then moved to the Lockport IDA, and then to the Niagara County IDA, and then was finally tapped for council position when Paul Pettit passed. So I was going to serve a year as a council member, and ran 13 years later, and decided not to run again. And I think that the timing was perfect because I knew I wanted to do something else, and it was really a great opportunity to stay with the town, continue some projects that I had love to do. I have great enthusiasm with regard to our IDA, and I look forward to working with each and every one of you. So, is that okay with you?
Nice.
Yeah, very good point. What we need is ultimately for this board to consider appointing Pat. So that's something that we want to discuss. We should discuss it. Ultimately, we need a motion to appoint Patricia Dufour as the administrative director of the IDA effective January 1, 2026. You also need to set their salaries. I would recommend you set their salary at the same rate that was budgeted for the current administrative director of 2026.
All right, does anyone have any questions for Pat? How do we do that? Looks like you're ready to say something? No? Okay.
I was going to ask, is it two separate motions or one?
You can do it together as one. You can do it together as one.
All right, if there's no questions, I'll take the motion to appoint Pat Dufour as the new director of the IDA, effective January 1st at the existing budgeted salary.
I'll make that.
A motion by Bob, second by Janine. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your support. And I'm really looking forward to working with each and every one of you.
Welcome aboard. And just for transition, I just want to, it's the right time to thank Tom, I think. I had mentioned it at a previous town board meeting, but when I came on as attorney here, Tom was here. A great help to me throughout all of his tenure here, my tenure here. And he's been a great servant to the town and our community locally. So I just wanted to personally thank Tom Sy for all of his service. And I'm sure the board feels the same.
Yeah, I'll echo that as well, Tom. I think that we've been spoiled because Tom is so professional and so efficient at his job. He just does it. We show up once a month and everything runs smoothly. So, it seems like Joey's been here too. So, big shoes to fill back. Tom says early side page. But you've been fantastic, Tom, and on behalf of the board, thank you for all your contributions to the town, to the IDA, for everything that you've done in your career. You had a fantastic career in Western New York and a lot of the community. Thank you.
I've obviously very much enjoyed it. I appreciated this current board and a few changes that we had previous board support. I am obviously 100% committed to work through the transition, especially this first couple, 3 months. And maybe just like Pat, backwards, I really enjoyed working for the town. It's really been a surprise to me how effective and positive it is, given everybody's preconceived notions of municipalities. So I've recommended or proposed that if there are opportunities, say on the planning board or zoning board of appeals, I'd be happy to sort of continue my service and more importantly stay connected, just as I know there are good things ahead for not only the IDA but the town as a whole. So you may still bump into me.
I hope so.
I did have one other new business item in neglected. You have in your packet our 2025 annual report, which is a required report under Paris. The format's not much different. I'm not going to go over a ton of the elements. I'd encourage you to read it afterwards. I would note that when we, under 1A, take a look at what the overall assessed value of all the projects under pilots are, there is a significant reduction from probably closer to 90 mil to 66 mil. That's totally the result of H5 purchasing Yahoo at a price below the assessed value. The good news under 1B is, albeit it's only through 10 months and annualized, that sales tax revenues are running ahead for the town. You'll see on page 2, that's a bit of a surprise when you stop and think back of the significant retail losses in 2025. You know, be it value Big Lots, Office Max, Rite Aid, or Niagara Trucking and Equipment. I think a couple that I may be left out. So I think those are all good news. I won't talk about the next one, but if you go to page 3, it's really where we begin to try and list out what were the projects or new ads in the various sectors, what were the capital investments and jobs created. That way we can see how close did we come to the goal of 100 jobs and for the goal of $5 million invested. And this year, you can see that that really wasn't that difficult. There's a big number under the Walmart remodel, albeit not that we're aware of any jobs created. Same thing for a big investment by Polita Health / vendors, but also the town for its own community center. And then you're obviously aware of our projects, Integrity Machining, Woodsmith, and Lucky 8. And those are probably below what the ultimate investments will be, just because these are more either purchase prices or, you know, if in our applications they let us know what they're likely to be spending. For example, we know Lucky 8 spending, you know, significant dollars to get up and going over there. I didn't do anything much more on the residential projects other than to let you know that those 5 or, you know, 4 or 5 are still functioning, still adding single family homes, patio homes, or fourplexes. So I think overall the message is that with the exception of that, you know, retail segment that did have some ads, but had some really significant losses, that, you know, the kind of economic development picture is fairly positive. So, but yeah, if you have any questions, just shoot me a note. On those. Yep, under old business, you've got the board self-evaluation results. I don't know who, we had 7 board members, we had 6 submit thus far. If that 7th person does, you know, Maureen will obviously modify this for you. I think there's a little bit of improvement. Now, in some cases, some of you have had, you know, another year, tenure under your belt and so on. So some of the areas where you might have seen a 2 or a 3 in the somewhat agree, those have kind of, you know, moved more into the agreed column. So I think it's a appropriate and on the mark assessment by you all, your work, your knowledge, and so on. So we'll be sure to file that for Paris.
So at this time, we'll take a motion to executive session for consultation with attorney. So, motion for the next meeting is Thursday, January 8th. The meeting will be in our new location, hopefully. And certainly, if you can't make it, you can let Pat attend the meeting and make sure we have a forum for that meeting. So, this time, I'll take a motion to adjourn the meeting. Motion by Janine,